What's up, y'all? Thank you for coming back to the channel. I'm Walt.
And I'm Maya.
And we are Fortune Farms. This channel is dedicated to documenting.
Yes, documenting.
This channel is dedicated to documenting our journey to self-sustainability, holistic healing, and overall just breaking out of the matrix.
So in this video, we're going to show you 4 reasons of why we chose to personally live a simpler and more holistic life. But first, I want you to know a little bit about our background so you can know where we came from to see where we're going.
I personally am coming out of the corporate marketing world. I've been running a business for the last closer to 5 years now. We did WMK for 3 years and wedding videography before that, and achieved some pretty cool things and realized I was still waking up every single day miserable. Like, I didn't want to do the jobs. I was sick of building everybody else's empire and not having anything to show for it at the end of the day. So
my background is really a lot of social services. Yeah, I did work in the school system a little bit, but heavily I was in social services, so group home life, which is really working with at-risk youth, foster students, people who are going to come out of the juvenile justice program and systems. We saw a lot of families that were struggling economically. We saw a lot of families who were struggling mentally. So that's really what we did. And that can be very, very draining for someone who continues to stay in that lifestyle.
especially as an empath.
Especially as an empath. And which brought us to, after we got out of that, we actually went on a trip to Austria, maybe 2017?
Yep.
And I want to say that probably changed so much about our perception of life. We
got to experience European culture. There's a lot of pieces of it that are the same as American culture. They're westernized, but we got to witness their relationship with food.
Right.
And I would say that is the biggest thing that we took away from that was their relationship with food wasn't based on a consumerism type of identity. There were McDonald's and stuff out there, but
they taste different.
Even that, but nobody we were with ever went to McDonald's.
Right.
It was home cooked food. Mm-hmm. They were growing their own food.
Yep.
They were
everything was local.
And everything that got all the scraps from the night's previous meal mm-hmm. got incorporated into the next day. So nothing was ever getting wasted.
Right.
If there was bread that was going stale, they set it out and turned it into breadcrumbs. They were everything.
We had
was
never
used.
seen that.
Yeah, and it's they have this belief in recycling that we are adopting here as Americans, but I don't know, we kind of still suck at that shit, but
right. But even past all that, a lot of the shops are not open a 24/7. Yep. There's very niche shops, and they're open on certain days.
Yep.
They are closed during the middle of the day, but there's still business. Everyone's still thriving.
Yep.
Another thing is that everyone was really riding bikes.
There were very few obese people out there. We were the obese people at the time. We'll pop up pictures here. You guys, that brings us to the next part of this simplicity journey is guys, we were really unhealthy.
Very.
Both of us weighed well over 200 pounds. And
our friends are not built for that.
Mentally unhealthy, physically unhealthy. We were on the road to dying. And we were going to die earlier, and it was going to be heart disease and diabetes and whatever else.
I was already becoming pre-diabetic with my PCOS and my insulin resistance.
So the seed got planted in Europe of this sustainable life, and also their food, their government regulations on what is approved to be sold for consumption is so crazy. Even when you do go, we went to a McDonald's out there because we had to see the difference. This shit they're feeding us here is not food, bro. Their burgers still taste like a burger. If you could tell it was real meat.
There was a significant difference in the taste of all fast food.
Even the soda tastes different. It's illegal to sell high fructose corn syrup out there.
Right.
And okay, so it's as unhealthy as soda is, they're still getting a healthier version of it than we are here.
So we came back to the States and we knew we wanted to adopt those things. But doing that all at one time, I think we tried to.
Yeah.
Because we tried to become vegan, then we tried to do this.
Yeah.
But when we ourselves try to just make quick changes, it never sticks.
For us, it has happened in slow incremental steps. The first thing was our first little tiny garden we planted when we moved into this house.
2018.
Yep.
We planted things way too close together.
Yeah. We misinterpreted the MI Gardener, who we love, and you should definitely go watch his stuff. And we planted everything so close. Like we had peppers planted like 2 inches apart, and
600
like
plants.
and like tomato. We had like 8 tomato plants in like a 4-foot bed.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad.
We tried to throw lettuce in that same bed. It was not good. But it was our first garden, and we learned so much. We had our first we had our first problems with dealing with spider mites, dealing with that white stuff with that powdery mildew. So it taught us a lot, and we actually did get to harvest some tomatoes out of that, and we ate some of the food out of there.
Yeah.
Then the following year was like, okay, we're going in. We got to learn how to do this for real. Which was around the same time where I was really getting into the videography stuff, and so like my mentality at that time was like hustle, get money, about to be a famous musician, all this type of shit. But in the midst of like all that chaotic time, we still were focused on building the garden, and that seed from Europe was planted of like, all right, we need to figure out how to do this, how to be healthier, how to become more self-sustainable.
Right. So we just wanted to share some things that you can start doing today to make those small changes turn into 3 years down the road. It is a huge, drastic difference. So the first thing, like what we said, is just start a garden. Start seeing how things grow, having your first failures. They say that the best gardeners, the best farmers have killed the most plants. And I want to say that's so very right.
Oh, we've murdered plants so bad.
That's just going to... Oh, yeah?
You want it?
Yeah.
There you go.
And it's those little fundamentals and like the building blocks for the garden. You're able to have, when you have your garden, if you choose to, eat organic produce for way cheaper than you're going to have to buy at the store, which is going to feed your body already.
Yep, so step 1, start your garden. You're going to fail. It's going to be okay. You're going to learn so much just by getting your hands in the soil and learning about the food that you're eating. That connection is a sacred connection that our ancestors have had for eternity, and we've kind of lost that over the last couple hundred years, and it's time to get that back. So step 2, the next small incremental step to self-sustainability and a simpler lifestyle is start making your products homemade.
Yeah.
For us, it's been like toothpaste, some deodorant, soap, laundry detergent. Granted, this isn't necessarily simpler in the fact of, yes, it's more work than just going to the store and buying it, but it simplifies the compounds that you're allowing to soak into your body. And like everything that you come into contact with, whether it's your soap,
Luka
toothpaste...
James.
We almost lost the camera, y'all. It was almost done. So, and that even comes down to starting your garden. Use what you have. You don't have to go build an elaborate structure and a big, beautiful garden in the first run. Over time, we've slowly evolved our garden to please aesthetically ourselves, because we wanted a peaceful place to like, we wanted it to look nice. But our first gardens were not that, and they functioned perfectly fine.
I would also say, to add to like homemade products, is also eating and learning how to make the foods that you like at home.
Yep.
Just like learning how to make homemade bread, learning how to make homemade tortillas. I know it might seem like a lot more work, but if you think about it, like our ancestors, our grandmas, our grandfathers, like they were putting in more time, and we've come to a place of such a fast-paced drive-through mentality of living that taking the time to make something kind of feels weird, because you're like, I can just go and buy this at the store. But it robs you of your attachment to the food and to making all of these things. So homemade products, homemade food, homemade bread. And I want to say, like, this all didn't happen all at once. I've made horrible recipes, but it's the trial and the error, the same as the garden. It's the trial and the error. And as you get better and as it becomes like a second nature to you, you just do a little bit. Do 1% of something. each day,
Yep.
then literally it's going to just seem like clockwork to be able to do it. Which leads into number 3, which is learning how to preserve your own food. Different ways of preserving is dehydrating, it's freezing, it's canning, freeze drying, it's pickling, it's ferment. There's just lots and lots of things that you can do to preserve the food that comes from your garden, even the food, the organic produce, or whatever you get from the grocery store. You do not have to have a garden to learn how to preserve any of these things. If Walmart has a sale on potatoes, get the potatoes, learn how to blanch them, learn how to save them. You can learn that now if you don't have a space of a garden.
I would even say like storing for consumption. Like
Yes.
usually when you go get produce from the store, they come in those little nasty bags and it gets mildewed in like 3 or 4 days.
Right.
There's different ways and different steps you can take.
Keep going.
There's different ways and steps you can take to store them in your fridge longer. Whether it's just putting them in a... Are you okay?
I'll get milk.
All right. Okay, she's going to go feed him milk and we'll keep talking about that stuff. So, honestly, we've had multiple years where we weren't set up to preserve. We didn't have the knowledge, didn't have the understanding. So we ended up giving a lot of food away. And admittedly, a lot of food went to waste. This year, we have shifted that. Everything that's been harvested up to this point, we've either dehydrated, we've canned, or we've let a lot of things go to seed. And that's another way to preserve, is to allow your plants to grow to full maturity, go to seed. So next year, you don't have to go buy seeds. You have everything that you need in order to plant next year's harvest. So that leads us into our final and probably the most important part of this conversation, the healing aspect of, in the real reason why we want to live a more holistic, simplistic lifestyle. And it's the healing aspect. Food has the ability to heal our DNA. It has the ability to get us back in touch with nature. And honestly, it has been the most mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally healing thing that we've ever done. Also, if you have the ability to grow organically, the produce that you're going to get out of your garden is 30 to 100 times stronger and more nutrient dense than the pesticide treated foods that you're going to get from your local grocery store.
But also it has to do with the herbs, the minerals that you're putting back into your water, the trace minerals, the things that you're not necessarily getting from what is being produced in the grocery store, which is in turn affecting our body, affecting our gut health, and affecting our mind. It's a whole body, holistic way of treating life and any of life's ailments and problems. In the United States, diabetes really wasn't that high of a thing like 100 years ago. But we can directly look at the diet that has been pushed and that we live in right now to completely be the reason why we have such high diabetes levels in the United States.
Diabetes.
Yeah,
diabetes. What's it called? The gluten intolerance. Peanut allergies. Like, these things didn't exist 50, 100 years ago.
We were eating very different things.
With no preservatives, no extra chemicals. They were eating stuff from the farm. There's no one right diet for anybody.
Right.
Everybody is molecularly different, but we can all agree that whole foods and eating your leafy greens and plants and stuff that are organic and not messed up with pesticides is proven to be healthier. So I don't know, this video kind of took some turns and twists and all that stuff, but these are the reasons why we've chosen a more holistic, simpler lifestyle, and we're gonna delve into these more deeply in other videos coming soon. So if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down there.
And as always, friends, make sure that you are kind to yourself. Bye.
Peace.